Welcome to the College Admissions Collaborative highlighting Engineering and Technology College Fair. We're so excited to have you participate in this event. We have a fantastic school here with us today. My name is Jessica and I will be your facilitator. Before we get started, I have a few housekeeping items for you. Your camera and microphones are turned off so the panelists cannot see or hear you. You can use the Q&A button at any time to ask questions to presenters. This is just one of the different sessions that happened tonight, so make sure you go back and check the website for the recordings. This session is being recorded also and can be found at strivescan.com/CACHET. So now I'd like to turn it over to our representative. You're muted.
Thank you, Jessica. Let me just share my screen with you all so you can see the slides that I want to go over with you all this evening. My name is Megan Murphy, and I'm the Director of Undergraduate Admissions at Stevens Institute of Technology, located in Hoboken, New Jersey. Thank you all so much for spending some time with us this evening to learn a little bit more about our school. During our time together, I'll cover information on academics, student life, professional opportunities, the admissions and financial aid process. And as Jessica mentioned, please do feel free to put any questions that you have into the Q&A. I'm happy to answer as many as I can at the end of the presentation. Of course, if you have any questions after today, please don't hesitate to reach out to either myself or another member of the admissions team. We're here to help in any way that we can. To start with a little bit of history, Stevens was founded in 1870 by the Stevens family, and the Stevens family were a family of inventors. They were really moving our country forward at that time. Last year, we celebrated our 150th anniversary. Our campus, where we're located, is actually where the Stevens family estate was. And when Mr. Stevens passed, as a part of his will, he wanted to create a university. We started off with just a mechanical engineering degree, but have expanded a lot since then. We have just under 3,800 undergraduate students currently on our campus. We are looking to grow, though, to be to about 4,000, which is still small, but just a little bit bigger than we are today. That means we're trying to welcome about 1,000 students into each of our incoming classes. What that looks like on a daily basis for you is an average class size of 25 students and a 12-to-1 student to faculty ratio. So if you are looking for a smaller community where you are known, where you'll be known by your faculty and peers, Stevens might be a good fit for you. On this slide and the next, we list our 34 different areas of study that we offer at Stevens, primarily in the areas of business, humanities and arts, sciences, and then computer science and engineering, which you'll see on the next slide. It is important to familiarize yourself with the academic offerings at Stevens, because if you do decide to apply, our students do indicate their first and second choice major on their application, because at our school, you do begin your major coursework right away. So you get to figure out very quickly, yes, this is something I like, let's continue, or no, I'd like to change my mind and move into a different area of study. As you can probably tell based on that, it's not set in stone what you indicate on your application. We do ask you to review our academic catalog, look at the different areas of study we offer, see the courses that make up each major, and try to figure out where you best fit. But we do also know students change their mind, and college is a time to explore. So you will still have 2 years to officially declare your area of interest at Stevens. You can also come in undecided within different areas. So perhaps business undecided, humanities and arts undecided, sciences undecided, engineering undecided. You can know more broadly what it is that you want to study, but perhaps not super specifically yet within any one particular field. Once you get to the institution, the university is also open to you in terms of studying in areas other than that primary major. You can major and minor, for example. There are opportunities for students, depending on areas of interest, to double major as well. We also have accelerated bachelor's, master's degree programs. So you can get both those degrees in 5 years as opposed to the typical 6. Just some things to consider as you're thinking about the academics at Stevens. Lots of choice within what we offer. I'll talk a little bit about each of the areas of study, but again, feel free to ask questions that you may have or check out our academic catalog at a later point in time. We have a school of business at Stevens, and you can see the areas of study that we have listed that you can major within this particular school. I'll also note that we do have an entrepreneurship minor within the business school that is quite popular amongst our students. A couple that I'll highlight are our business and technology and quantitative finance programs. Business and technology allows students at Stevens to combine an area of business with an area of tech for their major. So maybe you're studying economics and computer science, or marketing and music and tech. You're essentially choosing something from within the business school and from outside the business school to create your major. We also have a quantitative finance program, which you'll only find at a handful of schools at the undergraduate level. It's typically reserved for a master's level coursework. Quantitative finance, or QF for short, as we call it, is a really good fit for students who have three main interests: finance, of course, mathematics, as well as computer science. If these three things are of interest to you, quantitative finance might be a good fit. You'll also notice within our business school that a couple of our majors have analytics as a part of their title. And that's really because at Stevens, we're not just learning the theory inside the classroom, we're also trying to understand how to take that data to analyze and make the companies that we're working for, consulting for, more efficient and effective organizations. We have the humanities and arts at Stevens. All students will take courses within our College of Arts and Letters to have some of that liberal arts coursework as a part of their curriculum. The skills that you learn within the liberal arts are important, and we want every student to have that experience. You can, of course, major in areas within the humanities and arts as well, such as music and technology and visual arts and technology, which are two of our more popular programs within that school. These programs also allow you to submit a portfolio as a part of your review process. So if you'd like, you can share that information with us, and our faculty members will review that as a part of your overall application evaluation. We do have an accelerated pre-law program at Stevens. That program has students majoring in something within our humanities and arts, spending 3 years at Stevens before transitioning to Seton Hall Law School. The sciences form the backbone of so much of what we offer at Stevens. All students are taking math and science classes. However, some students are, of course, majoring in these areas of study. The majors themselves are smaller, which is particularly advantageous to groups of students interested in these areas, because typically they want to pursue research or have an interest in that. Research at Stevens can happen by assisting faculty members, perhaps in their project, on their lab, or pursuing your own student research project. We do have those programs over the summer as well for students to take advantage of. If pre-med is on your radar, Stevens is successful in getting students to go on to medical school. In the 2019-2020 academic year, all students within our biology and chemical biology departments who applied to medical school received an acceptance to medical school. They were doing that in the traditional way, in that they spent 4 years with us at Stevens and then went on to medical school. But we do also have an accelerated pre-medicine program in which students would spend 3 years with us, majoring in chemical biology, and then transition to the New Jersey Medical School at Rutgers for their medical school experience. If you add up all the engineering students at Stevens, this is the largest group on our campus. However, the single most popular major at the institution is computer science. And at Stevens, we break down computer science into two different areas. You major in either computer science or cybersecurity. Cybersecurity was previously just a concentration within our computer science department. However, really recognizing the growing interest that students had in this field, the growing need for folks to work in this field after graduation, we made it its own full-blown major, so students can dive even more deeply into coursework related to cybersecurity. Computer science, of course, though, is still quite broad. So typically what students do within their junior or senior year through the computer science program is choose an area of concentration, an area you want to focus your higher level elective coursework in. That might be information systems, data structures, machine learning. You have a handful of which you can choose. Our newest academic building on campus, our Gateway Academic Center, which was opened in fall of 2019, is home to our computer science, cybersecurity, and artificial intelligence programs. At Stevens, we have about a dozen different areas of engineering that you can choose from. And again, you can come in engineering undecided. That's an option as well. What's important to note about the engineering programs at Stevens is that they're bachelor's of engineering degrees, or BEs, as opposed to bachelor of science degrees, or BS degrees. We're awarding the BE for two main reasons at Stevens. The first is that regardless of the area of study that you end up pursuing, all engineering students are taking the same courses their first 2 semesters at the institution. So everyone is getting that same solid core foundation in the field their first year. Obviously good for someone who's more undecided within engineering, but even for someone who's more sure about what they want to study, it's still advantageous to have that BE, because you're typically not only working with one type of engineer. So having a broader understanding of the field is going to be helpful, not just in college, but post-graduation in the workforce as well. The other reason why we're awarding the BE is because of what we call our design spine. Every semester as an engineering student at Stevens, so 8 total, you will take a design class. So it's a very hands-on, project-based, collaborative curriculum. Our engineering students are taking these design courses all the way throughout, but all of our students at Stevens, regardless of their area of study, will complete 2 design classes through their senior design project. So everyone has that final capstone experience at Stevens. One of the things that really draws students to our school is the opportunity for professional practice. It's not something we require of students, but over 90% of our students will have at least one professional experience while an undergraduate. And they're broken down into several categories. One of those categories are internships. Those are those traditional summer experiences between your academic years, those 8 to 10 weeks of working. These are paid experiences for our students, and they're not major specific. So any student, regardless of what they're studying at Stevens, can pursue an internship. We also have cooperative education, which about 30% of our students are pursuing. Co-op is major specific, so it's just for engineering, computer science, and cybersecurity students. Cooperative education actually takes your time at Stevens to 5 years. You're doing the first year and the 5th year in the traditional way, taking full-time fall and spring semester classes. And then the 3 years in between, you're alternating every other semester between going to school full-time and working full-time. So you're still only completing 8 undergraduate semesters of coursework, still only paying tuition for 8 undergraduate semesters of coursework. It's just taking you a little bit longer to complete it because you're stopping 3 times to work full-time. So rather than taking courses for that 3 to 4 month period of time for a semester, you're going to work Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 full-time. Students are also earning money for these cooperative education experiences. Doing co-op does require a summer of either school or work to be able to make up that 8th semester. Stevens is on a traditional fall and spring semester calendar. However, we do offer winter and summer classes if students want to get ahead or catch up in coursework. We also have noted here about 10% of our students studying abroad. So if studying away for a semester is of interest to you, you can do that at Stevens. We have affiliations with universities around the world that our students can travel to, take courses in that will transfer back with them to Stevens. So they're not necessarily adding time to degree just because they want to have that abroad experience. At Stevens, just as you are assigned a faculty or academic advisor from your start at the institution, we also assign you a career advisor right from your freshman year. We're not the sort of school that says that you don't go to the Career Center until junior or senior year. You're starting that right away in your freshman year. That individual is helping you navigate that choice between internships or co-ops, research. What sort of professional experience do you want to have? And about 20% of our students are participating in that research option I explained earlier. These experiences that our students have inside the classroom, but also these opportunities for professional practice that do happen a lot in the New York City area, given where we're located, but can certainly happen in other parts of the country or around the world, really set our students up nicely for after college, right? Post-graduation outcomes. For the class of 2020 that graduated in a challenging time, 95% of our students were either employed or enrolled in graduate school full-time within 6 months of graduation, with an average starting salary of $77,000 a year. These are university-wide statistics. However, we do post on our website our career outcomes report, which does allow a student to go in and look major by major in terms of what the placement rate was, what was the starting salary, what sorts of companies and industries did students work for. We have over 1,000 companies recruit our students each year, and we're 11th in the nation for career placement. So they're very sought after in terms of the job market. We're also 12th in the nation for mid-career salaries. So they don't just hit the ground running initially, they continue to maintain that momentum throughout their careers. It's not all work though. There certainly is fun to be had in college and on our campus. We have over 100 clubs and organizations from which students can participate in. We run a student activities fair at the beginning of each year that is an opportunity for students to walk around in a really low pressure situation, learn about the different clubs and organizations, sign up for the ones that are of interest to them, so they can begin to attend those meetings and see if they want to continue with those student organizations. We have Division III athletics, so that's the level we participate in if you want to be at the varsity level, but we also do have club and intramural sports as well. We have fraternities and sororities if Greek life is of interest to you. Many opportunities for community service. A lot of students do that in high school and want to continue to do that in college, and performing arts opportunities as well. So even though our majors are more so focused in the areas of STEM, if you sing, dance, act, play an instrument, you can continue to do that at Stevens. Hoboken as well becomes so much a part of your student life experience. We have a traditional campus in the sense that you come up through gates and you have the academic quad with the library, the residence halls, the academic buildings, but we're entirely open to the city of Hoboken. Hoboken itself is just a mile by a mile, so it has much more of a neighborhood community feel. You get comfortable very quickly in that space. And then of course we have New York City right across the way that our students are using for professional opportunities, but also for student life, social opportunities. museums, Broadway shows, sporting events. Our students are exploring the city on their own, as well as through school organized trips into the city. In terms of living at Stevens, Stevens will provide housing for students all 4 years. It just looks a little bit different depending on your class year. So for example, if you're a freshman and you want to live on campus, and over 90% of our freshmen do, you will live in one of our 7 first-year residence halls. Then sophomore year, if you want to continue to receive housing through the institution, starting in the fall of 2022, when we open up our new University Center complex, that's where our sophomore class will live. The University Center complex has the first 3 floors are more student life space, so student lounges, another dining facility, another fitness center, and then the 2 residential towers for our sophomore class. So freshman year and sophomore year, you're up the hill living in traditional residence halls. Then junior and senior year, if you want to continue to receive housing through the institution, Stevens actually leases apartments in the city of Hoboken on your behalf. So you're still considered a resident of the institution because you're getting your housing through the school. However, you have your own apartment in the city. You are not required, though, to get an apartment through the institution. You can certainly get an apartment on your own. You would just be considered a commuter student at that point in time because you're no longer getting your housing through the school. While we will provide housing for students all 4 years if they request it, you are not required to live on campus at any point in time or to be a resident of the institution. So if you want to commute all 4 years, you can certainly do that as well. We have several different meal plan options for students. It's pretty typical that your freshman year, if you are living on campus, the school will require you to have that maximum meal plan. We don't want you to have to worry about where you're getting your next meal from as you're adjusting to all the other aspects of college. But after that, you're able to adjust and choose a meal plan that might be more suited to your needs, especially as you move into some of our apartments and residence halls that have kitchens within them. So you might choose to be cooking or eating at home a bit more than you were your freshman year. We also have partnerships with different vendors or restaurants in Hoboken, so our students can use their meal plan there as well. So while there are a lot of options on campus, they're not limited to just those, and they get to explore the city as well in terms of dining options. I spoke about some of this already throughout our conversation so far. We have the new Student Housing and University Center that you can see there. Again, the first 3 floors open to everyone, the 2 residential towers meant for our sophomore class. I also mentioned the Gateway Academic Center as our newest academic building on campus and home to that computer science, cybersecurity, and artificial intelligence department. However, that too is open to all students. All students will take classes in this building, have access to the lounges that are in this building as well, the study spaces too. We also in the same year, 2019, opened up our Student Wellness Center. We previously had all of these offices on campus: student health services, student counseling, disability services, wellness education, but they were located in different spaces. So we wanted to bring them all together for our students to have sort of a one-stop shop where they could seek all of these services. When it comes to the application process at Stevens, what's most important to note is that we utilize the Common application. So that's good news because lots of schools use the Common app, so you can just add us to that list. We do, though, also have our own application called the Custom application, which is specific just to our school, so you might see emails about this as well. We do not have a preference, though, as to which one you submit. They have the same requirements, they have the same deadlines, they have the same considerations for admission and aid. We just ask that you only submit one or the other because, of course, we can only have one application on file per student. When we receive your application, we do then need to wait for some other materials to come in before we can start our review. A very important item, of course, is your official high school transcript. We're looking at 9th through 12th, so what you started high school and how you're continuing throughout your time. And we're looking at your transcript in combination with a document known as a school profile or a school report. This tells us more about your high school specifically. What classes are offered at your school? What's considered rigorous there? How is the GPA calculated? We're not so much comparing you to students from other places, but rather looking and saying, where have you been for the past 4 years? What opportunities have been available to you? And how have you achieved within that space? We're looking to see that you've pursued rigor, but rigor in a balanced way. It's not good to take every higher level class your school offers and not do well in any one of them. It's best to really focus that challenge in the areas you're strongest in and the ones you're most passionate about and find the balance from there. The average GPA for an incoming student is a 3.8, but we do not have any cutoffs. We review all applications. While we're looking at all courses, we are looking at specific math and science classes to see that you've taken them, depending upon the area of study that you indicate an interest in on your application. So for example, if you're applying to engineering, math, science, computer science, cybersecurity programs, We want to see that by the time you've graduated high school, so this can be included in your senior year schedule, that you've completed biology, chemistry, physics, and calculus, those 4 courses for those 5 areas of study. You can be missing one of these classes and still be offered admission to Stevens. So for example, perhaps you're applying to an engineering program and you've taken biology, chemistry, physics, but you're just in pre-calculus your senior year. We could still offer you admission to Stevens. We would just offer you admission with what we call a calculus condition, and you take the course the summer before you enroll at the school. This is just to make sure that everyone is on the same page as they start in their first semester of coursework in those math and science classes at Stevens. If you're looking at our business programs, when it comes to those 3 areas of science, biology, chemistry, physics, have you completed 2 out of 3 of those classes? And for most of our business programs up through pre-calculus your senior year, with the exception of our quantitative finance program, which we do like to see calculus because it is a much more math-heavy program. Our humanities and arts programs, many of them only require 1 out of 3 of those sciences, and at least through algebra 2 for the math, with the exception of our science, technology, and society program, which does want to see pre-calculus as well as all 3 of those sciences. Again, these are just some classes that we want to see. Of course, students are going beyond this in terms of their 4 years of math and science coursework. We require 2 letters of recommendation from students, 1 from a counselor and 1 from a teacher. The teacher recommendation can be from anyone you'd like. We do not have a preference or a requirement in terms of class year or subject area. It's up to you and whomever you'd like to write on your behalf. Stevens did go test optional for fall 2021. We're continuing to be test optional for fall 2022. We have not yet made an announcement as to what the case will be with regard to testing for 2023 and beyond, but for the students who are currently juniors, we will make that announcement in May, so you'll have plenty of time to determine whether or not you need to take tests to be considered for admission to Stevens. While we are test optional for most programs, there are 2 exceptions. If a student is applying to our accelerated pre-medicine or our accelerated pre-law program, they do need to submit either the SAT or the ACT. But every other student has the choice as to whether or not they would like to submit testing for our consideration. And this choice is one that you make. The admissions office does not make that decision for you. Right on the application, you get to answer a question, I should say. Do you want us to consider your test scores? Yes or no. If you say no, we move on without them. If you say yes, we wait for that information. Students who do not submit testing are considered for admission. Students who do not submit testing are considered for merit-based aid. So it's really up to you and whether or not you feel as though those test scores are an accurate representation of your academic ability, if you feel as though they add strength to your application. We do not have any cutoffs in terms of test scores for our review, but to give you a sense for the fall 2020 incoming class, the middle 50% on the SAT was a 1320 to a 1480, ACT was a 31 to a 34. We do super score these tests, so if you've taken it across multiple dates, we will pull the highest score across each section to create that new strongest composite for you. And we do not have a preference if you choose to submit testing of SAT versus ACT. At Stevens, we only have that 1 essay requirement, that personal statement, common application essay that you're already writing for all of your schools. We do not have any additional short answer or supplemental questions as a part of our application. Stevens is a school with early decision and regular decision deadlines. Early decision is the binding agreement. If you apply early decision to Stevens, you're telling us if I'm admitted, I will come. You are my #1 choice school. This is where I want to be. We have an early decision 1 deadline of November 15th, and you find out by December 15th. And we have an early decision 2 deadline of January 15th, and you find out by February 15th. We, of course, have regular decision as well. You can apply to as many schools regular decision as you'd like. You're not making a commitment to any one particular place at that time. You usually find out your decisions at about the same time and can decide where you'd like to go from there. The regular decision deadline at Stevens is January 15th, and you find out by April 1. It does take us a little bit longer to review those applications, and we received just over 11,000 applications to the institution last year. For students who are thinking about applying to our accelerated pre-medicine program, you are submitting a regular decision application. However, you have to apply by November 15th. There are some additional steps through the review of the accelerated pre-medicine application, so we need a bit of extra time to make it through all those steps for our review and then the review at the medical school. I referenced some of this as we've been speaking this evening, but this is the profile for our incoming 2020 class. We're still working to finalize the 2021 class, and that will be posted to our website once it's available. I mentioned the average GPA of about 3.8, but think A's and B's. You want to see A's and B's in your classes and that you're challenging yourself in your school's available curriculum. The middle 50% for the SAT and the ACT there, the 1320 to 1480 and the 31 to the 34. Again, no cutoffs, but this was where the middle 50% of our enrolled class fell. We had a 53% acceptance rate to Stevens for the fall of 2020. This is a little bit high for us. We're typically at 50% or just below it. We did see an increase due to the pandemic in the acceptance rate in this particular class year. We haven't talked much about activities yet, but we are, of course, looking to see what you're involved in outside the classroom and expand your mind about what activities means. Yes, it's clubs and organizations at your school, it's athletics, it's performing arts, it's community service, but you have a part-time job, you have family responsibilities. What is it that you're doing that's productive outside the classroom? We want to know all about it to help give us that context. There is a section of the common application and our custom application that allows you to list out all of your activities. You're also not required to, but welcome to submit a resume if you'd like for our consideration as well. We're just trying to see that you've been involved in your community because we want to see that you'll come to our community and get involved as well. As I mentioned, there's lots going on, so we want to make sure we're welcoming students who will take advantage of those opportunities, not just inside the classroom, but outside the classroom as well. In terms of financial aid, you'll see there that tuition and fees are just about $56,000 a year at Stevens and room and board just over $16,000. Students are automatically considered for merit-based aid just by applying for admission at Stevens. Your application for admission also serves as your merit-based scholarship application. There is one exception to this though. If you are a part of your school's first robotics program, they have a separate scholarship application. That is a national organization. We have a scholarship application through that. So you do have to submit that, and the application is due by the deadline you select, so either early decision 1, early decision 2, or regular decision deadline. But every other merit-based scholarship that Stevens awards, just your application for admission also serves as your merit-based scholarship application. If you want to be considered for need-based aid, though, there are 2 extra things you have to do. You have to submit the FAFSA, which is the government form, and the CSS profile, which is a form made available through College Board. When you submit the FAFSA and the CSS profile, it's going to depend upon the deadline by which you have applied for admission. Because at Stevens, if you're offered admission to the institution, at the time of admission, you also receive your financial aid awards. You have that information on cost of attendance right there for you to see. So for example, if you're applying early decision 1 to Stevens, you're submitting your application by November 15th, you're submitting the FAFSA and the CSS profile by December 1. So should you be offered admission by December 15th, we have that information. Early decision 2, everything is due on that same date of January 15th, the application, the FAFSA, and the CSS profile. And for regular decision, you're submitting your application by January 15th, the FAFSA and the CSS profile by February 15th. So should you be offered admission come April 1, you have that information. Financial aid awards at Stevens can be made up of scholarships and grants, which is the money you don't have to pay back, loans, which you eventually would, and work study opportunities, which essentially is an amount of aid that you can work up toward through an on-campus job. Not every package has all of these things, but these are the categories under which aid does fall. And over 90% of students receive financial assistance from the institution. The best way for any one individual student to get a sense of what a financial aid award might look like for them at Stevens, prior to, of course, applying and being offered admission, is to utilize a tool on our website known as the Net Price Calculator. So if you go to stevens.edu and type in Net Price Calculator, it will take you to a page where you can input your own merit-based information, your own need-based information, and it will provide you with a figure. It is not an official offer of financial aid, but it is meant to give you a sense of what that financial aid award might look like at Stevens should you ultimately be offered admission to the school. Stevens does have pre-college programs for current high school students. They've been virtual the past 2 years, but we're hoping for it to be residential again next summer. And these are 1 to 2 week residential experiences in which you participate in academic modules with our faculty members, meet other high school students from across the country. Some international students come to these programs as well. You're also interacting with current Stevens students who serve as counselors during this experience. Of course, it gives you a really good idea about what Stevens is like because you're taking some classes with our professors, you're meeting some of our students, you're on our campus, you're eating our food, all of those sorts of things. You're in our residence halls, but it also is meant to give you a general sense about what you're looking for in the college experience as well. Do you like a campus this size? Do you like being in a city like Hoboken? Do you like the STEM opportunities that you've been pursuing more? So it's meant to do both, giving you some specific information as well as helping you sort of test drive that college experience in general. There is an application process for the Stevens pre-college program. The applications do go live in the winter for the following summer. One thing I'll also just note, and again, feel free to put any questions that you have in the chat. We are open for business. We are open for visitors. So if you want to come and visit Stevens, I certainly encourage you to do so. We're offering general information sessions and campus tours Monday through Friday, twice a day. We also offer throughout the week department-specific tours. So if you want to learn more just about engineering or computer science, business, humanities and arts, the sciences, we offer specific tours for those areas as well. We also do have weekend events that you can sign up for too if those work better with your schedule. Also, if you're currently a senior, you might want to consider taking advantage of our interview opportunities. They are not a requirement of your application. To complete your application, they are optional, but we certainly do encourage you to sign up for one. If you'd like to have a one-on-one conversation with an admissions representative to speak a little bit more about yourself and your interest in the school, you're certainly welcome to do that too. All of these opportunities you can register for through our campus visit portal, and I do encourage you to do so, especially for those on-campus visits. We do need to have all folks registered for those. If you are in the area though and aren't able to sign up for a visit, still stop by the office if it's Monday through Friday, because we do have a self-guided tour that you can take as well. I see that a question came in, so I'll look to that. Perfect. Someone asked if the courses are more theoretical or hands-on in nature. Definitely more hands-on in nature at Stevens. Now, certainly some of those liberal arts classes would not be as hands-on, of course, because the content doesn't necessarily warrant it. But for most of our areas of study, students are really taking, if they're project-based, they're collaborative courses that our students are really getting that hands-on experience within the classroom. Other questions? Great, I see another one came through. Someone asked about early decision. Is it binding? Yes, early decision 1 and early decision 2 are both binding agreements. The only difference between them is the date by which you apply and when you find out by. Students often ask, well, then why do you have the two? And a couple of reasons. One, the deadline for early decision 1 is November 15th. Say you visit on November 16th and we're your number 1 choice. This gives you a little bit more time to let us know that. Also, sometimes students want us to be able to see their senior year performance, and they might not have grades yet by the early decision 1 deadline. So they want to go early decision 2. So we have some additional academic information. Also, for students who might want to submit test scores, perhaps they want to take an additional test to see if they perform a bit better in it. So that might be an option too. But in terms of the binding component, both early decision 1 and early decision 2 are binding agreements. Other questions that I can help you with this evening? Okay. Jessica doesn't appear. Oh, sorry, one came through as soon as I said your name, of course. Oh, it was just a thank you. You're welcome. And then someone asked about campus visits. They're not required. No, you're certainly not required to come to campus. We just encourage you to do so if you're in the area and able to. I just wanted to emphasize the point that obviously there has been a bit of a pause on a lot of visit opportunities over the past year and a half at schools, but Stevens is open and welcoming visitors if you would like to join. Not a requirement, you do not have to, but being on a college campus really does give you a good sense of that place. You get to, an admissions counselor would give a session, you get to meet with current students as you go out on your tour, see the facilities. So it is a good option for you if you are able to travel to the area and sign up for a visit. We definitely encourage you to do so. We also do have virtual tours online, so you don't have to come to campus to get a sense of place. You can certainly take advantage of that. We also are still offering virtual information sessions as well. Ones like this that you just joined, but also we are starting in October, for example, our Stevens Advantage webinar series, which is specific to each area of study. So for example, there'll be a session just on computer science and cybersecurity, engineering, the sciences, our business program, our College of Arts and Letters. So you can get even more in depth through virtual experiences about our different academic programs. How accessible are professors? So professors are very accessible to students. As I mentioned, that small class size and the average student to faculty ratio. They're all also required to have multiple office hours throughout the week. So you can, of course, always reach out to them and schedule an appointment. But if you don't do it in that formal way, they do have the open office hours for all students to drop in. All courses are taught by faculty members, but labs or recitations might have TA assistance as a part of that experience. Someone asked about COVID restrictions. So at Stevens, we did require the vaccine for faculty, staff, and students who are on campus. We did, though, allow for religious and medical exemptions for students, so there was a process for that. We are currently masked in indoor spaces, unmasked in outdoor spaces when we're able to have appropriate social distancing between us. This allowed for the ability for us to come back and do our in-person coursework. So last year, freshmen were on campus pursuing a hybrid model of learning. Everyone else was fully remote, with our seniors coming back that final spring for their last semester. But this year, everyone is back on campus learning inside the classroom. We no longer have that remote option, that fully remote option. Great. Anyone else have any questions I can help you with? Again, I so appreciate you spending some time with me this evening. I know there's many other things you could be doing, so I really do appreciate you taking the time to join us and to learn more about Stevens. Again, I'm the Director of Undergraduate Admissions, so I work with the entire team of counselors who assist students, but each of you does have a regional representative based on where you attend high school, so you can feel free to reach out to any of us at any point in time throughout this process. Largest class size, someone asked. There aren't many large lecture halls on campus, so that does really limit how big some of the classes can get, but some of the classes might be around 100 students. Those would be like lower level, more intro level classes within your areas of study, and also that would just be for the lecture part of the classroom experience. A class of that size would then break down into a weekly lab or recitation that was much smaller, so you would then be having that more close interaction with faculty and peers. It wouldn't only be a large classroom experience for any one particular subject area. Any final questions? We do have a few minutes left if you have them. Great. Oh, you're welcome. I thank you all for asking questions. I'm happy to answer them. I think we may be set, Jessica, if you want to take it away. I'll stop sharing my screen.
Thank you so much. I hope you were taking some notes this evening. And we have an opportunity to hear from an amazing institution. And just know that if we didn't get to your questions, that they'll be getting your contact information and be able to reach out to you later. So at the end of the session, once we close this out, there's going to be a quick 5-question survey. Please give us your feedback. We want to know what you think, how you think, things like that. Just know that there are a lot of sessions that happened this evening and before and happening in a few days. So definitely sign up for some more sessions. And this has been recorded, as well as other sessions. You can find it at strivescan.com/CACHET. So y'all have a good night, okay? Bye.
Thank you. Bye.